high-level members of his national security team, and some of it will come from our European partners or NATO allies, who we remain in very close. In terms of engagement with President, as you know, he spoke with him on Saturday, and he believes in the power of leader-to-leader diplomacy, but I don't have a prediction of the next engagement at this point in time.
What about success?
Sorry, I didn't get that last part of your question. How we define success is, I think, how a lot of our partners and NATO allies define it. It would be a de-escalation, a proven de-escalation order of Ukraine, where the Russians are pulling their troops, where they can clear to the global community, to the media, to the public, that they are not invading Ukraine and backing that up with actions.
Go ahead. I think, Jen, on this energy question, in terms of the impact, obviously, the President mentioned, and then the consequences here. What should Americans be prepared for? Worst case scenario, what should they expect if it happens?
Well, I think what the President was touching on was the fact that if Russia decides to invade, there could be consequences here at home, and that can impact on energy prices, which could have an impact on prices at the gas pump. And we are taking active steps to alleviate the pressure on our own energy market, and every option is on the table to offset rising prices. As you saw the President act last fall, a range of options remain on the table. He also wanted to be very clear and direct with the American people about what the impact could be, and the fact that in his view, defending democracy and liberty is never without cost, but we need to the American people what that could like.
One more on Russia. If President Putin is not to invade, does President Biden consider that?
I think the global community would consider that a victory. But again, I think what the President's view is, and what the national security team's view is that this is ultimately up to President Putin. And every step we've taken up to date over the last weeks and even months to coordinate with our NATO allies, to stay in close touch with leaders in Congress and members about what our plans are, to put together a crippling sanctions package. What we are doing is we're presenting the choice to President Putin. He ultimately is going to decide which path he chooses. Go ahead.
Jen, I just wanted to close the loop on a few things. The Ukraine has been experiencing cyber attacks today. Yeah. A number of banks were affected. The Defense Ministry was affected. Has the United States attributed those attacks to Russia?
I don't have anything on the accusation at this point in time. I know there have been a range of reports. What I can say is that we have been in touch with the Ukrainians, our allies and partners, working with them to deter and respond to malicious cyber activity. We have also been warning for weeks and months, both publicly and in our engagements with the Ukraine, as well as our European partners, about the potential for Russia to conduct cyber operations in Ukraine, but I don't have any specific on attribution at this point.
Okay, and just, kind of moving a little bit to the realm of hypothetical, there are a lot of steps that,
there
are a lot of steps that Russia could take that are short of an invasion, but they're still, aggressive.
Yeah.
Including there's a step that Congress has taken on recognizing these breakaway regions in Ukraine as being, a separatist legitimately and separate. Would the U.S. respond to any things like with sanctions as you would to an actual invasion?
We have conveyed before, and I'll reiterate now, that we would be prepared to respond with a malicious activities, actions that the right.
Okay. And then one more thing. I know that you said that there's very little daylight with you and European allies on this issue. The German Chancellor said today Ukraine joining NATO is simply not on the table. It's not on an agenda item right now. Is that how you would characterize it from the White House?
Well, I think as you've heard the President convey, and you just heard him convey in his remarks, our view from the United States that nations have the right to sovereignty, territorial integrity, freedom to own course, and choose who they associate with. So we, United States, were never to pressure Ukraine or any country to join or not join a global alliance. That is up to them and up to the other members of NATO.
Thanks, Jen. You say all options are on the table. Let's be more specific on the possibility of a gas tax holiday. Would the White House support doing that?
I have nothing to predict, but all options on the table.
He said in his speech, if Russia attacks Americans in Ukraine, we will respond. Is there specific intelligence suggesting that some kind of targeted attack on Americans in Ukraine is possible?
I don't think he was suggesting that. I think as we've conveyed, as we've warned and been very clear about the risk that would be posed to anyone who's in Ukraine, including American citizens, were Russia one of the biggest militaries in the world, that there would be civilians. That's, I think, what he was conveying.
And with the Ukrainian president selected to be out of his country this weekend at the Munich Security Conference, do you guys think that's a good idea for him to be gone right now?
I don't think we have an assessment on that from here. Obviously, the Munich Security Conference is an opportunity for any leader to engage with, communicate with other leaders in the world, and obviously the vice president is going as well.
Busy day, obviously, with Ukraine, but has talked to any Supreme Court nominee? Have any interviews been scheduled? Will they
I'm
happen
going
in
to
person?
disappoint you here, Ed, and just convey, I think we're not going to give day-to-day updates from here moving forward about whether or not he's done interviews. What I can confirm for you is we're still on track to for the president to make a decision, make an announcement before the end of the month, which is in 2 weeks.
We filed that under the gotta
He
ask.
will do some interviews in the next 2 weeks. That's what I can confirm for you. Go, Jackie.
Thanks, Jen. We've been told for a long time that some cyber attacks would likely precede an invasion. So if it turns out that Russia is behind what happened today, or is, how I should phrase it is, they're working done quickly to figure out if Russia is behind what happened today so that sanctions posed before there is bloodshed, or is the calculus still sort of centering on force on force or some passing over the border?
Sure. Well, we're doing those assessments, and certainly cyber attack happens. That is certainly a process that happens behind the scenes, and that our intelligence community and our national security community undertakes, as it would be in this case as well. I would note, though, as it relates to sanctions, one, there's a range of means that we could respond, both scenes, to a cyber attack or any other attack, and the president has the purview to do whatever he chooses in that regard. But our view remains that the crippling package of sanctions is an effective deterrent. So if you do that all in advance, what is to stop them from moving forward? That may be a different of policy issue, different as of opinion, I should say, on policy issues with some in Congress, and that's okay, but that is our view from the administration.
And then this may or may not be related at all, but is there information on what caused the power outage on the North Lawn? I mean, every TV network lost power at the same time during
It was a
the
very
president's remarks.
inconvenient time. I will just note for all of you and for us. I don't have any assessment of that, no, or yes.
And does the White House view giving up on NATO aspirations as a possible off-ramp? Understand that, the president has said, the administration has said over and over that, NATO members would not, encourage or would not give that to join, but a long way to go. And now that there is this